So as you can see, we're starting to turn that little bit orange. This is the Bitcoin stock to flow model, and as you can see, when we turned orange, began to turn orange, we had this upward momentum. So here you can see we've got the darker red here, and we're starting to turn orange. But welcome everybody to Crypto Angles podcast number 69. We're on the 69, but not that 69 that you might know of, just the number. So anyway, welcome. My name is Kelita. If you're new, I'm a real angel, a mother, and of course I dabble in crypto. That is why you are here. So on my channel, I do combine astrology with the crypto market, but it's not mainstream astrology. It is the sky. So basically the sun, moon, and stars that you see literally above your head, that's what I interpret, and it is different to mainstream astrology. So just putting that out there. So usually the order of this video, I'll go through some Gematria connections if it's available, but it's not in this video. Then we'll look at the astrological story of this cycle, what's happening and how that could be impacting the crypto market. And then we'll take a look at the technical analysis for Bitcoin and XRP and the DXY as well. So let's get into the astrological story of this cycle, and do make sure you put a like up on the video to help your girl out, push it out in the algorithm, especially if you like my analysis and my approach to the markets, as I am very right brained and I have a very feminine aspect and perspective of the market. Okay, so let's look into it anyway. So where are we? It's the 15th, a Sunday, and I know I was doing this live, but my laptop just wasn't laptoping when I was doing it live, and it was messing up and things like that. So I will still be doing some lives, but there will also be recorded videos as well. And ideally when I do go live, I'd like people to be available, so you could let me know if you'd like to see the technical analysis for any coins, and we will go over that. But just let me know. Also, even if you comment in this video, can you check out this coin, blah blah blah, then I will aim to put that in the next video if it is pre-recorded or if we go live. But anyway, let's just focus on the astrological story. So this part I am paying attention to. Like in the last video, I says these two weren't as, just follow the cursor on the screen. These two weren't as important. However, the sun moving into Virgo is quite important. Like I says, this is what's happening in the sky. So by the time you're watching this video, you may have already thought it's Virgo season, but not according to what's happening above your head. The sun is going into Virgo tomorrow officially. So oh, confirmation cough, but this is, I'm seeing it as a little important because the sun represents our ego. And when it comes to why astrology has an impact on the crypto markets, is because it can have an impact on our personal decisions, choices, and things of that nature. So when it comes to crypto, you have a certain, it impacts the decisions and choices you make when responding to the crypto market. That's not just you, it is collectively. Okay, so that's how it impacts the crypto market. So with the sun moving into Virgo, the sun represents our ego. So the ego is the lens that you operate through. It is how you're going to personally shine at that time. And with it being in Virgo, Virgo is the maiden, and it's a lot about energy exchange. That is the umbrella term. But her being the maiden, the mythology of it, she wanted to give her love in the best possible way she could. So in order to do that, she didn't want to do it in the wrong way. So she paid attention to all of the details. And that's the part I want to highlight right here. It's all of the details, okay? So even when it comes to the crypto market, I feel people will be operating in a way of paying attention to the details, all of the niggly, iggly bits and things of that nature. Virgo does cover more. It covers work, health, your day-to-day life, as Virgo fuels the sixth house as well. But ultimately, it's about this energy exchange. So we're paying attention to the monetary aspect here. Check out my Thursday videos. I did miss my last Thursday videos because I'm dealing with my mental health, so I'm trying to be consistent when I can, but life is life in anyway. So I am going to see people, their actions, they're going to be paying attention to more of the details of it. And just like I says here, look at this tiny little detail of the color getting lighter, going into orange. So we're almost there, people. But we will be operating from that lens when it comes to even investing. So if you, though I am not a financial advisor and I'm not giving financial advice, and this is for entertainment purposes only, I do feel you will be looking at the finer details when it comes to the market. So just pay attention to that in terms of how you may act and respond with the market. But then, of course, we're getting our lunar eclipse and full moon. It is a super harvest moon in Pisces as well as Cetus. So, what is this saying to me? When it comes to the full moon energy, we are already in it. We've been in it since Friday because the full moon energy lasts 5 days before and 5 days after. And I got this from my mentor, Waters Above. So, do make sure if you're checking out this video, check out his as well because he's really cool. You know, he's my mentor. But anyway, so we are in the full moon phase and we're going to be in it until 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, until Monday, basically until we get our third quarter moon when the energy transitions. So we're in it for a minute right now. And when it is a full moon, price wants to find its support. And bear in mind, though the full moon is on the 18th, it can happen within the window of time. So we're getting from the 13th till the 23rd of September 2024, when price will like to find its support, its new local support. Okay, so when we check out the technical analysis, there is a chance it could have done it already, but we've still got this whole period of time for it to do it. And ideally, when price has found its bottom, found its local support, when it's found it's clearly, you can then either long the market if you are a trader, or you can dollar cost average into it, buy into it, and things of that nature. So that's basically it. Now, it is eclipse season, and we're in eclipse season until we're on our solar eclipse on the 2nd of October 2024. So eclipse season can bring about this shift and change of energy, and we have been on pretty much a sideward to downward momentum for a while. When was our last eclipse season? It was in April 2024. So when we check our charts, we'll have a look at how price has responded since April. But ultimately, I am seeing a shift in energy. So it is interesting that price is trying to find its support and its local bottom during this energy shift that can bring that change in the market, potentially from a downward momentum to an upward momentum. Ultimately, I am seeing quarter 4 being eventful. Would I put it like that? Eventful, definitely upward momentum in quarter 4 and continuing into quarter 1, particularly for the altcoins. So even if it's Bitcoin that just moves first because the altcoins follow Bitcoin, but we'll see how it goes. But this is a shift that's coming once price has securely found its bottom. We'll see obviously how price moves between the eclipse from now up until, well, is it Wednesday? Up until Wednesday, the 2nd of October 2024. Because during the eclipse, don't be surprised if there's sideward momentum, but ultimately the shift is happening and we are on the orange. So it's beginning to change, and like this chart, it's undeniable. When it turns to orange, it's moving up. Look at this area, look at this area, the moment it goes from red, and so on. But this is also why I'm like, will there be a potential super cycle? Because just looking at this, there was hardly any red here, Maybe because I'm so zoomed out we can't see the date. Yeah, here we go. So zoomed in, sorry. So 2012 we had a tiny bit of red, and then it went straight into the orange, and then yellow. Then on this time, when was this, 2016, we were in our red, and then we turned to orange and went up. And then this time here, 2020, we were in the red before we turned to orange and went up. So this part, just looking at all of them, this has been the longest squiggle red. And I know I'm probably not using the best terms. Like I says, I am very right-brained when coming to this. I'm coming from a feminine perspective. However, there's a lot more squiggle red here than here and here and here. So could we be getting a super cycle, or could we be getting a like extra extension? I don't know, but we're obviously underneath this chart, which hasn't been before, because look, during this time in 2020, we're sat on this yellow line, which is kind of like the prediction. Again, we were slightly under it here in 2020. In 2016, we were on top of it. Yeah, that's 2016. We were on top of that line and we continued. And prior in end of 2012, 2013, we were on top of this line. However, right now we are under it. So will we be touching the line? Because how much is that? Right now it's at 59k, but oh gosh, this is saying like 200. No, is the line showing a different price to the actual price? I think it is, so we probably can't guess it from that. I'm not the best at this stuff. Okay, we're doing our best, but regardless, we are turning orange. So whether we even touch this line, get just below it, and then follow it up, or get above it, I'm not sure what it's gonna do, but we are turning orange, and when it gets to that point, it's only upward momentum, especially as we're going into Q4, which brings me back to this picture. Though it happened with the stock market being in, so the blue is when it's not an election year, but the red is for the election years, and of course there is an election this year. So not on the election years. August is a bit dead. September is quite awful. There's not much that happens. October is still very still, and November, not in an election year, it does quite well, but in an election year, it doesn't. It's because I'm sure the elections happen in November. I don't really follow politics, so if anyone knows, let me know. I could just Google it, but whatever. I don't think it's that important. So, yeah, it's interesting to see what's going to happen, especially because during a non-presidential election year and a presidential election year, December anyway is quite potent. But will we see more movement in October? I'm not sure, but I do feel ultimately Q4, which does cover majority of October, November, and December. Does Q4 start from September? I'm not entirely sure, but them months anyway, I am seeing upward momentum, especially because this is starting to turn orange. So let's take a look at the Bitcoin chart, the Chizzy art. If you did like my analysis on not analysis, my astrology perspective, do let me know. Do grab a calendar as well if you would like to follow along. There's digital and physical copies available, and it's 30% off right now, so do grab it. Now this is physical, this one's digital. Do grab it and make sure you stay tuned to follow for the next year, 2025 into 2026. That calendar will be available in November, so stick around for that. But anyway, this is what I wanted to show. So I've left this little white squiggle here for time. If you are new, I did it at some point end of spring or beginning of summer, and I've just left it there because I don't want to be surprised if that happens for us to dip down to this low, but I don't think it is. what I'm seeing potentially most likely is for us to tip the top of this parallel channel. So that's what I'm paying attention to the most if we have more downward momentum, especially because we're getting a little weaker and weaker and weaker. Looking on a smaller time frame, this is the W time frame, but looking on a smaller time frame, it is showing some signs of strength. But like I says, we are in our confirmation burp. We are in our full moon phase. So price is trying to find its local support. So keep that in mind, okay? But we are in this massive cup. So the cup extends past like this point, and this is the handle. So we are in that, and I see potentially we're just finishing off this handle pattern, and this red line here is a measured move from the cup and handle to where it could potentially go. So over 100k Bitcoin, one 100 and teens potentially, and I wouldn't be surprised if it hits 120, but definitely 100k Bitcoin is in the cards when it decides to break out of this pattern. And I do feel as we are in the zone of finding our support from now till, is it the 23rd? Yeah, till the 23rd of September 2024, I'm not going to rule out us touching the top of here. And for me personally, that would be a solid support. That would be solid. So I've kind of drew this thicker red line. I've put this here because this is how price is moving on the line chart. But we've got this thinner red line here because it's not even on it properly. Let's just move that to there. There we go. It's touching the wicks. So the line chart doesn't show the wicks, it just pretty much shows the volume in price. So this one here is for the wicks. So that's why I'm like, I'm not going to rule out if they want to do whatever Black Swan event and bring it to this low, like the lows of 40k, but I do not see it going lower than 40k for an extreme case. But my initial thought is potentially touching this parallel channel if we're to retest this price. So that sits at 50k, 51k. And for me, though I've said like this zone here at 43 would be a good break and would be a good, not break and retest, a good retest zone. However, structurally, it would also make sense to just touch the top of this parallel channel. So that is what I'm keeping my eye out for, especially because look at this, we've had this wick going up where price tested this zone. It has come back down on this long wick here to retest it. So could it potentially test it again before its full continuation to the upside? However, we are close to our full moon. So would we get our support where price is hovering, and could we just continue from the upside for then, if you know what I mean? Basically, could this be our full support where we don't even come back and touch that? So that is something I'm paying attention to as well. Looking at the RSI, which I did mention before, I personally, and I'll show you in this video because on my live the laptop weren't laptoping and it's already making up noise just for this recording, but personally, for upward momentum, I'd be a bit more confident seeing Bitcoin on the W time frame. I don't like to use the word WEEK because we're not weak. And I know it's spelled different, but the sound, the frequency, it's the exact same thing. But anyway, that's why I say W if you are new. But on the W time frame, I'd prefer it. I'd feel more confident for like continued upward momentum when we're a little lower in the RSI for the W time frame. Reason being, if you didn't catch my last video, when we were on the low, that's when we began to make our move fully to the upward side. So it's like here we were oversold back in 2022. We were oversold. We dipped a little lower. However, on the RSI, when we dipped a little lower, the RSI was higher, but price was lower. So this was signaling to us a bullish divergence. So price is getting ready to go bullish, even though the price here was lower than this point, but on the RSI, it was higher. And then what happened? Price just continued up. Okay, right now on the W time frame, we are like just at the 50. So will we get rejected at this point? Potentially come down a bit lower to find our support before continuation up. It's like, I don't know, I do feel we are just a little bit too much in the air, especially after being overbought. Unlike this occasion, we were obviously in the air after going up high, but we weren't overbought here. You see, unlike the other occasions, we were overbought before coming down. So again, over here, we had our overboughtness, and then we came down to this point where we were low in the RSI, moving left, because look left to know what's happening right. Again, we wasn't oversold, but we were on the lower point of the RSI before this continuation up to become overbought. So that is something on the W time frame I am paying attention to and watching out for. Over here, when it's a little bit lower, what was price doing? You see, when I was trying to let go, when I was trying to do this on live, like my laptop weren't doing it. It basically said no. No, just weren't doing it. So I'll do my best. I don't know if I can go live more when I get an actual computer, but we'll do our best until we can do it. I will go live and we'll see how it goes, but I'll do a mix of both. But again, over here, we were obviously overbought. When was this? Oh, this was inception though, but we hit the overbought, but on the W time frame, we then went to the oversold. We were at the bottom of the RSI before we actually moved up, going from 2013 into 2016, before we moved up and went into the oversold. So that is something I am paying attention to, the RSI. So I'm not going to get too trigger happy until, like, I don't know, for me, it would be more of a solid confirm to at least see the RSI closer to the lower side of the RSI. Basically doesn't mean being fully overbought and lower than it, but definitely close to the 30 region at least. But we're not quite there yet. We're on 40. But could this also be the lowest as well? So I'm not ruling that out. But looking at the MACD on the W time frame, it does look like the red is slowing down, but there definitely needs to be a bit more red. Like, you see how it's staggered? It will bring in some smaller reds, and that could well be that little slight dip when it comes to the price. So do keep that in mind. But this is getting ready to turn, even though it did turn here and then dipped down again. So I do feel it's generally finishing off its downward momentum right now. And again, just going back to this full moon lunar eclipse, it needs to find its support. So that's what I am paying attention to. But let's just put on some of our indicators. So obviously we'll go back down to the daily because that's just a lot. So on the daily, we clearly had our resistance here, and the question is, where is our full moon going to come in? That's the biggest question. Could it come in here to recognize that this is going to be our local bottom support? But Bitcoin is showing a signs of weakness. We've only had higher lows, sorry, not lower lows. We've had higher lows each time, which is a sign of weakness. And right now we are at a crucial level. However, this candlestick pattern, it looks like a hit and a retest. So could we break through this, and could our support pop up about here? So that's what I'm going to pay attention to, but I'm not going to rule out it coming down to this level. Now it is a full moon in Pisces and Cetus, and these are water elements. So being a water element and the market being water in and of itself, there could be volatility. So keep that in mind. There could be volatility, but ultimately Pisces is the being in the waters. It's kind of like the womb. Your Pisces is you attune yourself to the frequencies, what you're ready to experience before you're birthed out into the womb, into the world, sorry, before the Aries fire kicks in. And Cetus is all about alchemizing everything that has happened. So it's like when it comes to the crypto market, it's that alchemization process and that attuning itself to know the frequencies it's going to operate on, that being the frequencies being the prices it's going to operate on. So yeah, Pisces can be a little bit depressing at times. So this is where, though volatility could come in it because it is the water element, water sign, a lot of reflection and alchemization along with Cetus happens as well. So this is just why I'm not going to be surprised if there is downward momentum. Okay, I wouldn't be surprised like continuing this if this is one more higher low for it to finish off here before continuing up. However, because Pisces is also quite, it's water, quite volatile, I also wouldn't be surprised if it confirms its full moon here, as we've hit here once, twice, 3 times. So though I'm saying this point at 50k, it kind of has secured itself at 53k, and what we want to see is that it does support 50k if it happens to go lower. So ultimately, because it's tested here a few times, this could also be its support. Okay, the full moon could pop up here and it's like, yep, that's my local support. And when we move into this new moon phase in October with our solar eclipse, it's seeing if that's going to pull us higher than any of these points ultimately. So that's what we're going to be paying attention to. But let's just take a look at some of the moving averages and ting before we go on to XRP. And does it frustrate you when I'm speaking, so there's some people saying this posh English accent, anyway, and then I switch to Patwa? Like, does it bother you? Because like I've had people on my TikTok like, why are you switching from accents? I'm like, fam, if you were raised with Jamaican parents, you're going to have it, and it's gonna slip out from time to time. It's gonna slip out, but people just have an issue with minor things. But anyway, on the daily though, for I've put something on, but the daily RSI for Bitcoin, as you can see, it is pointing to the upside. So this is where I'm like, oh, there definitely could be a bit more upward momentum. So it's seeing really if, where is this price? It's here. Yeah, what I want to see, if the RSI here can surpass this point, even if price is lower than, where is it, than this point. So if price comes up and it's lower than this point, but the RSI shows that it's higher than this point, then that's also going to give a bullish divergence. You're right, darling. What happened? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. He didn't hear you, so you just need to repeat yourself. Yes. Where is it? Pass me my coat, sweetheart. Forgive me, bear with me. My child needs me for a moment. Pass me my coat and I'll get it for you. It's in the pocket. So yes, darling. So that's what I'm back with you lot now. That's what I'm going to be paying attention to. It is. It's heavy.
I did that too.
No. Okay, there you go, boobs. No, that's mine. Oh, where is it? There you go. No, that's not mine. That's yours. It's rubbish. It's just rubbish. I thought it was mine. Okay, I'm finishing off my video now. Okay, darling. So, careful. So, careful. Oh, just be careful. What did you jump on? So that's what I'm going to be paying attention to anyway, as we are obviously pointing up when it comes to the RSI, so it could take us higher. And like I says, when it comes to full moons, once it's found its support, you can then long it or dollar cost average into it. You wait until it's found its support, and it could have been doing that, could have done it already, even though the moon, when does it come in? On the Wednesday? Yep, the 18th. So keep that in mind. Okay, with the RSI, no, the MACD on the daily, you can see we are entering into a bit of green territory, so definitely recovering from what we've done. And we want to see how much price is pulled up from finding its support. Like, I generally feel the support's going to come in here along with all of these moving averages. Price is now being supported by it, though the 200, this green line, is on top. So we do want to see a cross of that for the green one to be at the bottom before anything, though it looks like it is getting ready to cross, as you can see. So that's definitely positive right there. And this daily candle, it looks like it's getting ready to go up even more. So I am seeing a little bit of recovery ultimately. So yeah, I am seeing that. So that's why I'm not ruling out potentially going to 50, minimum 49k. But here does look like a nice structural support now, as it's tested it 1, 2, 3 times, and the moving averages are crossing over. So I'm going to get rid of this one and put on this one just to take a look. Okay, so when it comes to this one, the SMAs, it says SMAs, EMAs, but this one is EMAs, so maybe it's just SMAs. But either way, it's underneath all of them except the 8. So it is kind of being supported by the 8. We would want the 50 to be underneath it, which it does seem like it's getting ready to do. But then, of course, we do want to also see this 200 being underneath it as well. So this 200 and potentially the 50, but I feel more so this 200 may be a little bit of resistance level of some sort. So that could be a factor for price to retest the top of this parallel channel, which I mentioned at the beginning of this video, touching that 50k region. And ultimately it's like it's retesting this candle wick. So price may want to fill that out, but Bitcoin on some cases hasn't retested fully its last breakout zone. So that's another reason where it's just like, as long as it maintains this support at 53, sorry, the high end of 53k, then price probably won't go as low, but I'm not really seeing it going lower than 50k if it does want to retest them levels, minimum 49k. But I am keeping an eye on this 200 moving average, because that could be a resistance level for it. So we do want to see that cross. However, with the 8 supporting it, of course, you can clearly see that the 8 and the 50 will cross over, which will give it more support until it passes the 200 anyway. All right, so just keep that in mind. Do I want to put on anything else? What are these? Bollinger Bands. I've not used these in a while, so with these Bollinger Bands, I'm gonna just close these and close it down. So as you can see, when we went a bit below the Bollinger Band, we went into it and then we traded up to the high point. We then hit that Bollinger Band, came back to the lowest point, and it's, oh gosh, it does seem as if we're going to touch the high point of this Bollinger Band. So, oh, again, with that 200, keep in mind with that last bit of downward momentum, even what we had on the MACD. Confirmation, but keep in mind it could fill that out, especially if we get rejected off there, to then retest the lower end of the Bollinger Band. Yeah, keep that in mind, because that could be a resistance. But ultimately, we are still in the full moon energy of price solidifying its support. And I do feel the support's going to be around about this zone. Lowest at 53k, high end of 53k to about 56. I do feel the support's going to come in there, like the middle of this Bollinger Band, but we'll just have to wait and see, ain't it? We'll just have to wait and see. Let's just hide that. I want to see, is it this one? Yeah. Fascinating. So you can see that there is definitely a lot of volume happening right now at the price it's at. So whether people are buying a lot of it, minimum, I don't know, but that is interesting. I'm gonna just take a quick look at the 4 hour before we move on to XRP, because I hope, yeah, it's still recording. Mic is still on. But what's happened to my RSI? Oh gosh. Anyway, on the daily, I did want to mention this though. Obviously, we are very far from the luminary moving averages, but the way they are positioned with the darker purple on the top, which is Saturn, and this berry color here, which is Uranus, these are the two we want in them positions for upward momentum. Okay, so long term, it's nowhere near it, but in terms of for more of a medium to long term, Bitcoin is on its upward momentum anyway. But let's take a quick look on the 4 hour. I want to add favorites. How do you add the indicators? You can't remember bar style favorites indicator. Shows volume. Where? Where's my RSI gone? Anyway, it's just not going to appear for XRP, and I don't know what happened to it. If I go back, will it come up? Because I just need them on. I must have like accidentally taken it off. No, because it was here when I was looking. Anyway, I don't know what's happened there, but with the 4 hour anyway, we've got the luminary moving averages here in the opposite direction. So Saturn, the darker purple, is at the bottom, and Uranus is at the top. So there could be a little bit of resistance here, especially because we did have that other 200 moving average. However, these ones, it's being supported by, so could we potentially break through? It's just telling me there may be a bit of sideward momentum until it potentially breaks through, because this is looking healthy on the 4 hour time frame. The 200 is crossing all of them, and it's being supported nicely. So we'll see. What's that? Alerts. Indicator. Wait, if I click, here we go. Where's the RSI? Relative Strength Index. There we go, it's back on now. I keep my things the same and I don't move it often, so it's like, and now there's two. Anyway, so on the 4 hour RSI, obviously there's upward momentum. It still looks like it could go up a little bit, though we were overbought. It still looks like we could go up that little bit, but we could get rejected off that level and then come back down. When it comes to the MACD, however, we are crossing and we've entered into the red zone. So I'm like, are we gonna get that bit of resistance on this level? I don't need two RSIs, so I'll get rid of you. Yeah, will we face a bit of resistance on this level? But ultimately, price is getting ready to find its support. Um, it is. So, and Pisces is a very interesting one because I've backdated it, and Pisces can be strong or weak, depending. It can be strong or weak, meaning if it's a full new moon in Pisces, price can often hover at that new moon zone and then continue on up instead of being finding a full resistance and being rejected. When it's a full moon, um price again, it can be weak. So it's like it can, let's say weak or strong, depending on your perspective, but it could hover at like, okay, this is its support, but weakness essentially could come in and it could go lower. So that's what I've noticed with Pisces new moons and full moons. So this is where I'm like, could we get our full moon come in, but could we get our final rejection, retest either this zone or the top of this parallel line before full continuation? If it was a new moon in Pisces, I'd be more just like, oh, price may hover at this level and then continue on up, but it's a full moon. So we'll just have to wait and see how it goes ultimately. There's definitely some resistance here, but there's also some strength coming in, which could keep it going, if not full upward, sideward momentum. But that's kind of what I'm seeing for Bitcoin. Let's take a look at our XRP. We're not on a new month, are we? Um, so RXR Pizzy in the hizzy. Bear with me, I'm grabbing my beverage. Oh gosh, I've hit the laptop. I thought you might have heard it, but the mic is attached to me, so I think you're just gonna hear me. I'll grab my beverage anyway. And it is fermented grape juice, but here we go. So XR Pizzy in the hizzy. We have had this cycle, quite a strong cycle, which is good so far. Well done, XR Pizzy. And look, just looking at the RSI anyway, um, not much happened on the lower side, but we were getting like higher lows, which is interesting. So I'm going to be paying attention to if this upward momentum turns out to be a higher low. What was price saying with these higher lows? So price pretty much followed the RSI. We did get slightly lower high here from this point. So there's no like hidden divergences happening right now for XRP. A confirmation burp. But as you can see just here, not with it extended, it does look like it wants to go up higher, but we could also be rejected, but it is being supported off this. So that could have been the momentum to take it higher, especially with this full moon lunar eclipse entering in. So that's interesting. Let's go on these smaller time frames. Well, with prices above the moving averages, these yellow, orange, and red lines, which is good. Where's the 200? And the 200 is crossing on the W time frame. So that is good for upward momentum. And of course, it is only going to follow Bitcoin. So on the daily, Forex are busy and hizzy. I need to do a dedicated video for XPR, as I feel they are the same, very similar, and I do feel that XRP is the one where a lot of attention is on, and it's still going to do a lot. However, it's like XPR is that underdog. Like if you missed when XRP was a penny and below, XRP is giving that XPR, sorry, is giving that opportunity. So that's my perspective, but I need to show you the Gematria connections and all of that to confirm it a bit more. So stick around for that if you'd like it. And also let me know if you want to view another coin. Do let me know, drop it in the comments, give a like if you've got this far. But on the daily, as you can see, we are entering upward momentum when it comes to the MACD, which makes a lot of sense, especially as we are in our full moon phase. So price finding its support and then upward momentum after that. With the RSI on the daily, there was a lot of upward momentum. So you can see there may be a little bit of retracement to find its support, which of course is what it's doing within this full moon, for continuation up afterwards to get just a bit higher within the RSI on the daily. We are, the 200 is at the bottom and they are crossing. Okay, the luminary moving averages are fine. This is can't, it's hard to see, but the dark purple line is there. It is pretty much at the top. And Uranus is at the bottom. So Saturn at the top, Uranus at the bottom. So that is positive. It is positive for, I wouldn't say positive, it is a signal for upward momentum ultimately when it's that direction. And yeah, they are crossing. So this tells me I feel the full moon may come in and support it around about here. To kind of confirm wherever it is hovering now is pretty much going to be its new local support. Just taking a look at this. I'm going to put in one line. Oh, my favorite NPC is walking up the road and I see him. He's such a cool guy, but he is also an NPC. He's like, there's nothing in his eyes, but he's so sweet. Anyway, this particular zone, just on this line chart, you see how price had come up, it retested this zone, come back down, little squiggle on it, played with it for a bit, it became its resistance, and then it's broke through. So could we come back and retest this? And this is actually fascinating, and I'll show you why. This red line, if we come and retest this to confirm its support, then it's looking healthy. Reason being, let's go on a monthly. This red line, yeah, the top red line is, so this, the top red line, not this bottom one. This is where like price hits, but this is where it wicked to. So just putting on the candle, you can see price wicked to here with XRP. So it's like if price is to just go and retest that zone, it's hitting the wicked point of its all-time high, its last previous high, and so on. So that would actually be healthy if it goes and retests that zone. So I am keeping an eye out for that. That wouldn't shock me, especially if Bitcoin would like to retest a little something, something. I feel it would be healthy for XRP to come back and retest this zone 57. I wouldn't be shocked. This gives a nice clean retest of where price came to before, as well as that retest of where it tested its all-time highs. And as you can see, we've hit it a few times, went a bit over it there, but that retest would definitely be healthy. If that happens during the full moon phase, that could be so, even if it's a wick, but the body just stays at this zone. And of course, it's going to follow whatever Bitcoin is doing, really. But let's go back to the candles and the 4 hour, as there is a lot of upward momentum coming. So on the 4 hour, we are overbought. Well, we were overbought on the RSI and we're coming back up again. So it's just going to be interesting when it comes to the 4 hour. Will we want to come back down within the 4 hour time frame before we go and extend, because we are overbought? So for a more upward momentum on this time frame anyway, it's better for it to come down. However, MACD, yeah, with the MACD, we have had a lot of upward momentum, so it's kind of like, will it cool down just a little bit? But we are being supported nicely on all of these. Look at that. So Uranus is quite close to the bottom, but it is still at the bottom with Saturn on top with our luminary moving averages. The 200 is underneath, and these are moving quite nicely, though there is a bit of an extension and space between them. So that would be my only thing of, would there be a temporary retracement? And look, it's not even that far. Where are we? 59. To come back and retest this zone is 57. So it's two cents. It's literally 2 cents. So even though I'm not a financial advisor and I'm not giving financial advice, ultimately what the price you get in for XRP, even at the price it is now, even if it wants to retest 2 cents lower, if it wants to, there's barely any difference. Barely. So it really makes no difference what it's doing, to be honest. Like, essentially, I do feel this zone, the full moon may pop up about here. So it's like, yeah, just under here, basically. So even if price comes lower or not, or if it just, this is its retest, it's getting support off of the 8 for continuation, it could well do that. But I feel the full moon will appear here, and we'll see in our next video because it will appear on Wednesday. So we will see how price obviously moves, though it has had a lot of upward momentum, so it may just want to cool down. That cooling down could bring us back to this zone, that 57 cents. But that's kind of what I'm seeing for XRP. Let me check the other moving averages. Okay. Okay, this one is kind of confirming to me. I wouldn't be surprised if we do retest here to solidify that support for continuation. Reason being, we do have the 200 moving average for the SMAs, which is sitting nicely on this resistance, and not resistance, support level of previous price. Look how it just touched it nicely, hit it off it, touched it again, come down. We've broken through it, but we haven't actually retested it. So could that retest come in? Because the 200 is sitting nicely on it, and we are underneath the 8 moving average right now. We're underneath it, so that could be that little momentum to push us down. But we've got the 50 here along with the moving average, and it's like by the time that catches up and passes the 200, we could get a lovely support off it, and then continuation. Like I says, the other moving averages, there was a gap. So within it doing that, it could cover that gap that it has. So keep that in mind. Let's take a look at Wagwan with this. So it is showing quite a bit of volume happening now. It's not so low as like here. Yeah. So like I says, I generally feel there's not much difference between 59 and 57 cents. Not really. Especially depending on how much you're actually getting. But on a smaller time frame, it does seem it does need to get to the lower side before continuation. However, on the daily, it does seem, so it's like on the daily compared to that, it's like it will just bring us down just a little bit before continuation up. It's just that recovery. So yeah, that's what I'm seeing for XRPZ on the hizzy. And forgive me if you lot don't like the voice change, because people on TikTok are so fucking weird. Like, I do love it because the engagement is very much higher than even YouTube. Oh, confirmation, but and especially Instagram. Engagement on Instagram is like the worst. But still, the extra engagement on TikTok, people are weird as fuck, man. It's just the comment nonsense. Anywho, so when it comes to the DXY, obviously we were definitely oversold. It does seem like we're retracing back to this, and it does seem like it's trying to turn. But it has crossed. So in this crossing, if it attempts to turn up, could we then get rejected off of this moving average as it goes up? Or will we fully finish out this RSI movement to get to more of a higher RSI on the daily before we're continuing to the downside? So the MACD, so the RSIs are still low in the MACD, and it does look like it's slowing down in the upward momentum. So will we just get the RSI still on the low part even when it turns to red again? That could be a potential, because for the crypto market to obviously do the most, the dollar needs to do the least. So yeah, but look at this curve. It's like it came down, hit it again. I don't even know why I drew this curve. Can't remember. Oh, I think it's the M. Oh, it's the M. I drew a big M, a wonky M. See, it's like this wonky M. So ideally a massive double top. And this is what I'm seeing from the moment it breaks this point. When we touch back this point, it's just going down potentially from the length of this M. This will obviously be the next zone, but I feel breaking like the estimated movement of this, it will even go lower than 97. And generally I feel when it's doing that, that's when crypto is just moving up and doing the most RSI on this scale. So yeah, it's still showing on the W time frame that there's still downward momentum to complete with the MACD, but it is also quite low on the RSI, so, or has been quite low. So there's definitely a bit of room for recovery, but we'll get back on the daily. We'll get back on the daily. So I generally feel on the daily, even with the MACD and the RSI potentially, there may be a bit more upward momentum for the dollar, which is telling me Bitcoin, crypto, XRP could do that little down, that last downward momentum. And it's kind of like when it finishes, when this finishes its upward momentum, they'll be ready. The crypto has finalized its support and it will get ready to fully move on up a bit more. I am seeing movement in Q4, and oh, I think my little best friend is here. Mr. Cameroon. Is it? Oh no, someone else. Me no know. No, it is. Yes, it is, man. Anyway, um, I forgot my point of view. I forgot. Yeah. So basically, what am I seeing? There definitely may be a bit more relief for the DXY. Let's take a look on the 4 hour. Yeah, even with the 4 hour, the RSI, it's done been low. It is turning right now, but I feel we'll definitely come and retest this moving average when it comes to the RSI. And then obviously the MACD, we are slowing down in the downward momentum. So I don't know, I'm seeing sideways. And ultimately price just may retest this zone when it comes to the DXY. It may retest this zone, and in retesting this zone, it's like crypto is doing that final support level before continuation to the upside. But regardless of kind of what it's doing, we are in the orange. So it's finishing off its last bits, what it needs to do. And I do feel Q4, we are going to notice something, and I feel it's going to go into Q1. 2025, I am seen as explosive. And after like Q1, we may have a quiet or recovery Q2, and then maybe Q3 during August this time, extra movements, and then again end of Q4 2025. And I'm not going to be surprised if the last leg is 2026 Q1. I'm not going to be surprised. The last part of the year of the snake and all of that has a place to play. So, with that being said, do make sure you grab the calendar and stay tuned for the next year's calendar. And there is a diary version of the calendar available on Amazon right now for this year. I know it came out late, but I was struggling to get it out. If you've been following me, my mental health and all that ting and ting, it was quite a lot. But it is out now on Amazon. It will be available, the diary version, on Etsy. Hopefully, the end of tonight. I just have to put the pictures up and the listing will be available. But of course, if you are interested in these calendars, make sure you stay tuned for the new calendar that will be 2025 into 2026, and it will be available by the end of November this year. So, with that being said, that was Crypto Angles podcast number 69, I believe. Do let me know if you liked it. Do give a thumbs up. I'll attempt lives, I'll do a mixture. Grab a calendar if you'd like to support. Grab a reading if you'd like to support as well. I've done one for Bitcoin XRP, but of course, I do it personal for your life, though those videos are just kept private. But if you aren't able to support in them ways of getting a calendar or diary or reading, just simply liking, commenting, or sharing the video does wonders. So, with that being said, I do hope you gained a little bit of value from this video. Do give feedback because it helps you get out a lot. And I'll see you in Crypto Angles podcast number 70. We've done 70 of these, people. I know I've missed some, but I'm happy with my consistency to what I'm able to do. So, with that being said, I'll see you in the next video. Angel out. Bye.